The issue of the privatization of public sector banks in the face of the attack against the government that is coming from the opposition parties and by protests by the bankers union as well in a two-day strike. The central government has now spoken out in defending this decision here, saying that it will take care of the employees' interests as well as salaries. There's nothing to worry. This in fact came in the form of a statement that came in from the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Several opposition party members, includes the Congress of course, has hit out saying that the government here is actually selling banks to cronies and would compromise the financial security. Let's get in an expert voice to understand this better. We have Mr. Dilip Saha with us, who's the former president of IBOC, which is the All India Bank Officers Confederation. Mr. Saha, good evening. In your view, is this just with respect to criticism, a charge by political opposition that's coming against the government, or is there a much more valid concern to this here? Because this is an issue that has seen very big protests by bankers across the country.
I think it is a good situation that general people understand the motive of the government, how they are functioning and how they are doing things. There is no case can be made out for selling the public sector banks to the corporate entities. There is absolutely no case. In fact, what we fear is that the way the government is, attacking the bankers as if they have promised somebody that they would hand over the banks. In fact, if you see, there has been a huge deficit in corporate tax over the last 2 years. If you go back to 18-19, total collection was 6.63 lakh crore, which came down to 5.45 lakh crore. Now this year it has come down to 4.43 or 40 lakh crore.
Right.
So there is a deficit of 2.20 lakh crore in corporate tax alone. And in the simultaneously what you are seeing, you have seen there have been they are all interconnected. That's why I'm touching this, because now they have to make up these funds and also please some people. There is absolutely no case. In America, there are 4,000 banks.
So
in Germany, there are 1,800 branches.
Mr. Saha, is this just about... Right. So is this just about a concern of bankers fearing a loss of jobs if there's privatization here? Is it also more about continuing to make banks accessible to remote areas as well?
The second part is more valid and important. If you have seen that in India, the fiscal policy or even the budgetary policies, most part is dependent on bank delivering them. And even the recent, the COVID-related package that the government declared was also more on the banks to implement. So therefore, the banks have reached out to the remotest corner of this country. In one call of our Honorable Prime Minister, we have opened 42 crore Jan Dhan accounts. And if you see the dismal performance of the private sectors, it is barely less than 4%. We have opened more than 96% of the accounts and this thing. We are in Naxalite areas. We are in various deficit areas, very difficult areas, in Leh, everywhere. So selling these public sector banks serves no purpose. And if you take overall the enterprises, public sector enterprises, they have given at least 1,50,000 crore as revenues to the government. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Saha, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at that, but appreciate you speaking with us here, saying there are lot many issues of concern related to this than just a charge by the opposition against the government.